Coming up on Mountain News this morning, this past weekend, immigration crackdowns began to take place all over the country as migrants were transported to the border. But some Kentuckians gathered to protest their disapproval of local deportation.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, Mountain family. Happy Monday. Today's date is January 27th, and it is 6 o'clock. We are marching our way to 7 this morning. It's also time to check on in with meteorologist Megan Dusmal for a look at the forecast. And Megan, it's been a little bit warmer. We have some hope. I remember seeing even some 50s. And my question is, are we finally warmer than Alaska at this point? I know I put you on the spot with that one.
That is a really good question. I checked earlier in the newscast. Now keep in mind our temperatures are cooling down and they're still a couple hours behind us, so they do have a little bit of warmer temperatures, but we're a couple degrees off. I mean, I don't have the exact numbers right now, but I believe it was like 4 degrees and they're on the warmer side, but it looks like colder weather is coming for them and warmer weather is coming for us, so it should be switching the balance as we're heading into the next couple of days. Let's take a look at that satellite and radar right now, though. And as you can see, for the most part, that rain and snow is out of our region. We do have just a little bit right towards Harlan and Norton, but that will be subsiding as we're going through the next couple hours, leading the rest of your day to be nice and dry. Now here's a look at those current temperatures, though. We are in the 30s for most of our area, looking at the 20s as you're traveling towards Ashland, Moorhead, and Irvin. But for the rest of us, in the 30s, not too bad. Heading into the afternoon, though, we are looking in the mid-40s. Again, more improvements to be had. And as we're going through those next couple hours, here's how we'll get to those highs. Starting off cooler, but getting up there slowly but surely, hitting the high temperature around that 3 o'clock mark today. Amelia.
All right, Megan, thank you. The border czar says it's a game changer to have a list of federal agencies helping to address illegal immigration. ICE reports almost 1,000 arrests of undocumented immigrants just yesterday. Amy Kiley has the details of the Trump administration's latest efforts.
If you're here illegally, if you broke our laws, then you're going to be targeted.
Across the U.S. and beyond its borders, President Donald Trump is cracking down on illegal immigration. ICE reports almost 1,000 arrests and more than 500 detainers yesterday. Those numbers are from at least Metro Atlanta, Puerto Rico, Colorado, L.A., Austin, and Chicago. They follow news that ICE agents now have a quota of 75 arrests per day. Other federal agencies are helping find undocumented immigrants. The border czar says violent criminals were the targets of a Chicago blitz. The Illinois governor says he'd be fine if it had stopped there, but he says authorities also went after people whose only crime was entering the U.S. illegally.
They're going after people who are law-abiding, who are holding down jobs, who have families here, who may have been here for a decade or 2 decades, and they're often our neighbors and our friends.
Meanwhile, a feud between Trump and Colombia's president might be dying down. Colombia says it's resuming acceptance of U.S. deportation flights. That's after its refusal to accept 2 of them led to both countries' leaders threatening hikes on tariffs. Some analysts worry such increases would force Americans to pay higher prices for certain goods.
The only way that Donald Trump knows how to, quote, lead is by acting like a bully.
He's putting the rest of this hemisphere on notice that you are not dealing with the same president that you were.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Our sister station spoke with anti-ICE protesters who took to the streets of downtown Lexington to express their disapproval of the immigration crackdown. The protest turned out to be a large gathering of people with clear message of pro-immigration. It comes as U.S. Representative Andy Barr says he will continue to back immigration policies set forth by President Trump.
ICE is engaged in law enforcement operations to keep our country safe from criminals, people with ties to terrorists, and individuals who have open, active investigations into them for criminal behavior, including child rapists. So the protesters, hopefully downtown, are just mistaken about what they're protesting.
Representative Barr did say he will continue to support legal immigration, including temporary work programs for both agricultural and non-agricultural workers, and what he says are legitimate asylum claims. President Trump fired the inspectors general for more than a dozen federal agencies Friday night. They serve as independent watchdogs within agencies who investigate and disclose fraud and waste. The firing paved the way for Trump to install his own picks overseeing the agencies. Federal law states the White House must give Congress a 30 days notice before an inspector general is fired. Senate Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley and Majority Leader John Thune both say Congress was not given a notice or any explanation from the White House. Meanwhile, overseas, South Korean prosecutors indicted the impeached President Yoon on insurrection charges over his declaration of martial law, a move that plunged that country into political turmoil. That president, who was denied wrongdoings, was placed in custody earlier this month. He could face life in jail or the death penalty if convicted, although South Korea has not executed anyone in decades. Today is International Holocaust Remembrance Day. A solemn ceremony is taking place in Auschwitz, Poland on Monday. Delegations from around the world will join with citizens to mark the 80th anniversary of the liberation of the Nazi concentration camp. Soldiers liberated about 7,000 prisoners still held at the camp, but the Nazis murdered more than 1 million people in Auschwitz. The Trump administration is sending a delegation to Monday's ceremony to mark the anniversary.
We had just a little bit of that precipitation this morning, but it's moving its way out, and where it was, we are seeing just a little bit of fog this morning, something for you to be aware of as you're heading out the door. Let's take a look at the current visibility, looking at 4-mile visibility as we're heading towards Jacksboro. We could see that the visibility decrease as we're going through the next couple hours. Same thing as we're talking our Jonesville, Wise area, Middlesboro at 7-mile visibility. Now, Amelia mentioned how we compare it to Alaska. Well, let's take a look. Now, keep in mind, their temperatures are continuing to drop, and we are starting to go on that uptrend. We are at 32, and they're at 38. And you can see that purple is coming for them. They're starting to get a little bit cooler as the next couple days come through, and we're starting to get a little bit warmer, so we'll start to see that flip-flop. Here are our forecast highs for today, though. We are in the mid-40s, looking in the low 40s as you're heading towards Virginia, Logan, and Moorhead as well. And through the next 12 hours, here's how that breakdown will go. Temperatures warming up, hitting the high around that 3 o'clock hour. Nice and sunny skies this afternoon, so it'll be quite nice and pleasant. Amelia?
All right, thank you, Megan. And thank you for joining Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. TikTok could soon reach a deal as investors are approached with a new proposal.
Would you buy a life insurance policy if you knew your rate increased every 5 years? What if $9.95 a month bought you less than $1,000 in protection? Sadly, many policies that seniors buy today fail to mention this in their advertisements. You could buy a policy that might not give you enough coverage when you need it most. Call now to receive free information on the Senior Care Plan from Senior Life Insurance Company. The Senior Care Plan guarantees your rates cannot increase. Your benefit will never decrease. There is no medical exam, and you will have lifetime coverage. You could qualify for up to $30,000 in whole life protection, and rates start as low as $5.90 a month. With the Senior Care Plan, your coverage can start immediately, unlike other policies that don't give you full coverage for 2 years. Call now for free information on the Senior Care Plan from Senior Life. By calling now, you lock in the lowest rate possible. You have no obligation. Call now.
Ordinary is the opposite of beautiful. Beauty drops our jaws, dilates our eyes, and beauty is something we can create right now at Floor & Decor.
These hands are working hands. My hands are the most important tools I have. You need to take care of them. That's where O'Keeffe's comes in.
It's America's #1 selling hand cream for guaranteed relief.
If it works for these hands, it'll work for yours.
Also available in O'Keeffe's Lip Repair.
I'm Billy Johnson. I grew up in Eastern Kentucky. This is where I live. I know the people, the roads, and the court systems. I know car wrecks, and I know how to maximize your results. You're as likely to see me on my way to an accident scene with investigators as you are to find me in my office. I do what it takes to get the job done, to maximize your results. If you've been injured, call me, Billy Johnson. Make it air fight.
With over 100,000 square feet of premium outdoor inventory on display, WKYT's Kentucky Sport, Boat, and Recreation Show is back January 30th through February 2nd at Central Bank Center. Visit KentuckyBoatShow.com for more information.
Appalachian Wireless is starting 2025 by doing something they've never done before. New devices on us. Up to $800 off select devices. This is on a new or renewed line on the Appalachian Advantage Unlimited or Mix and Match plans. Visit AppalachianWireless.com or any retail location for complete details. New devices on us. On the region's best network. We are you. We are Appalachian Wireless.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response.